This is the guide on the 7.0 and 9.0 Bandos methods I made a while back, which, as far as I know, is the meta for solo Bandos right now. Let's get straight into the entrance skill. It's the same for both methods, but here I show it for 9.0. When doing 7.0, the cannon should be placed one tile north of where I place it now, and if you want to use food, then you should drop it one tile east of where the cannon is. I use the cannon instead of food because I don't like juggling and I find it's a bit more chill. Because the cannon stays for 30 minutes and we don't need to worry about it too much. With just the cannon base though, you need to be a bit wary because it doesn't give you a warning in advance before it disappears, so make sure to replace it every 30 minutes. Thanks to Osmium Tetraoxide on Reddit for the suggestion for using the cannon. So we need to use the cannon to red click on. This makes Bandos not move for the 2 ticks while we're under him, so we eliminate any randomness. And you should not click on anything else while you're under him, not even things in your inventory. If you decide to use food instead of a cannon, it works the exact same way. Using this method you should be able to get about 25 kills an hour. Any walking I do in this method is completely optional, so if you don't want to do it, feel free not to. And from this point on, I'll just let the kill play out so you get the full picture of how it's done. Now this is how to start a regular kill. Again, it's the same for 9.0 and 7.0, so I'll only show the 9.0 method. And it's going to be slightly different from iron and mains. This is because the spawn for irons can never be off, while for mains there will be a 1 in 8 chance of Bandos spawning 1 tile away from its useful spot. If you move 1 tile north due to this, you need to wait 1 to 2 ticks after your first hit and then start running, skipping the second hit. And you should do the same if you're 1 tick late for your first hit. Now lastly, I also want to show an example of what to do when you actually mess up and get hit by Bandos. In general, this method will be quite forgiving, and if you just continue it, it will fix itself. This is because, in contrast to most other Bandos methods, we're not using any flinching here, so there's not any weird flinching timings you need to keep track of. I've also uploaded the entire trips I've used to make this video to YouTube, and if you need more examples on how to fix mess ups, there are plenty of those in there. You can find links to them in the description. Now I still want to show an example of 7.0, even though it's about 1% worse than 9.0, because frankly it just looks way less confusing. Using similar adjustments, it's also possible to do 8.0 Zemi with T-bow and like infinite to 0 T-bow Sarah. I'll probably make a guide on those at some point. 9.0 Zemi with a bow is also possible, and it's the best ranged method to camp semi-solo off tasks. I don't think many people will do semi off task, but it's still fun, so I'll probably make a guide on that at some point as well. So for gear, this is what I would recommend. It's fairly chill and allows for healing when you make mistakes. I'm not completely sure about the ratios between Divine Bastions and Restores, as I haven't had the time to properly try out the meta yet. I got about 9 kills per Bastion potion while making this video, and in that time you should use around 1 to 1.5 Restore potion, factoring drops from Bandos and praying at the altar. From this I still think 80 to 100 kill trips are realistic when you replace the cannon base, an angler and a restore with more divines. With high enough agility it's also possible to sustain your run energy without a ring of endurance, as was shown by several streamers the past week. You should replace it with a ring of suffering or ring of the gods if you don't feel like you need to boost. Trolls are also an option instead of blood barrage if you're confident enough in your flicking of the minions after the kill. You should be able to sustain yourself with just blowpipe spec, food drops and bones to beach steps. Now I don't think trolls are any good because it takes too much prayer. At 6 prayer points per kill you'd use around 4 restores and an 80 kill trip just for trolls. I just don't think the DPS increase outweighs the shorter trip length due to this. The tile markers for both methods can be found in the description. I opted to only include the tile markers you actually click on, because having all the tile markers gets kinda messy. Clicking on the transparent tiles is purely optional and just saves a little bit of run energy. I've also included an orange tile for where you should place the cannon, so food should be placed 1 tile east of that. And if you have any questions still, I'll be happy to answer them in the comments section.